Scientists did something no one had ever done before. Instead of just testing stool samples the way every probiotic study had always done, they actually sent tiny cameras inside the guts of healthy people, using the same scopes doctors use during colonoscopies, to see with their own eyes whether the bacteria and probiotic pills were actually sticking to the gut wall the way every bottle on the shelf claims they do. And what they found should make every person who has ever bought a probiotic supplement sit down and pay very close attention. In 2 out of every 3 people, the probiotic bacteria did absolutely nothing. They went in through the mouth, floated through the stomach, drifted through the intestines, and came straight out the other end. They never attached. They never settled in. They never became part of the gut. They were just passing through, like a tourist driving through a town without ever stopping. And the worst part is that the stool test companies use to prove their products work showed bacteria in the stool of everyone, the people whose guts accepted the probiotics and the people whose guts completely rejected them. So even the so-called proof that probiotics are working is unreliable. If you have ever spent $50 or $60 a month on a probiotic bottle and felt no different, now you know why. And if you stick with this video all the way through, I am going to show you what actually works, what your gut is truly desperate for, and how to fix your digestion using real food that costs almost nothing. This has the power to change your life forever. Let me explain why this matters so much in plain terms. Your gut is not just a food tube. It is home to trillions of tiny living organisms, bacteria, and those bacteria do far more than help you digest dinner. They make about 90% of the serotonin in your body, which is the chemical that controls your mood and helps you feel calm and happy. They produce something called butyrate, which is the main energy source that keeps the lining of your gut strong and sealed. They train about 70% of your immune system. When the bacteria in your gut are healthy and balanced, you sleep better, your joints hurt less, your blood sugar stays steadier, your brain feels sharper, and your body fights off sickness more easily. When those bacteria are out of balance, problems show up everywhere. Fatigue, bloating, brain fog, constant inflammation, weight gain, and a long list of conditions that most people blame on aging, but that actually trace back to a damaged gut. So the question of what you put into your gut to support these bacteria is one of the most important health decisions you will ever make. Now here's what the supplement industry has taught you to believe. They have told you that taking a probiotic pill is like planting seeds in a garden. You swallow the capsule, the good bacteria land in your intestines, they move in permanently, and your gut gets healthier. It sounds logical. It makes perfect sense. And for most people, it simply does not work that way. That study I mentioned at the beginning was published in one of the most respected science journals in the world, a journal called Cell, back in 2018. The researchers gave 15 healthy people an 11-strain probiotic, meaning it contained 11 different types of so-called good bacteria, the same kinds you will find in most probiotic products on the market. Then they went inside those people's guts with scopes and looked at what was actually happening on the gut wall. What they found was that your gut already has billions of bacteria living on its walls, and those existing bacteria do not want competition. They actively block incoming probiotic bacteria from attaching. The researchers called this colonization resistance. Think of it like trying to move into a neighborhood where every house is already occupied and every neighbor has built a fence. It does not matter how good your intentions are, there is simply no room for you to move in. That is what happens inside most people's guts when they take a probiotic supplement. The existing bacteria say no thank you, and the probiotic bacteria have no choice but to keep moving until they leave the body entirely. But it gets even more concerning. The same research team did a second experiment. They gave people antibiotics, which wipe out a huge portion of gut bacteria and then split them into groups. One group took probiotics afterward, which is exactly what most doctors recommend. One group just let their gut recover on its own without any supplements. And a third group received their own original bacteria back through a special procedure. The people who took probiotics after antibiotics actually recovered more slowly than the people who did nothing at all. The probiotics got in the way of the gut's natural healing process. The bacteria that were supposed to help actually blocked the gut's own bacteria from coming back. So the advice that millions of people follow, finish your antibiotics and immediately start a probiotic, may actually be doing the opposite of what they think. Now, before you throw away every probiotic you own, let me be fair. Probiotics are not completely worthless. Certain specific strains do help with certain specific problems. One strain called Lactobacillus rhamnosus GG has good evidence for preventing diarrhea caused by antibiotics, especially in children. Some bifidobacterium strains have helped elderly patients with severe constipation. A massive review of 29 studies involving over 1,600 adults over the age of 60 did find that probiotics modestly increased good bacteria levels in older people. But that is the key. They seem to work best in people whose guts are already seriously depleted, like the very elderly, the chronically ill, or people on heavy medications. In healthy adults with a reasonably intact gut, a major review published in the BMJ, one of the world's top medical journals, found that 6 out of 7 high-quality studies showed probiotics had zero measurable effect on the gut bacteria of healthy people. None. Nothing changed. So if probiotic pills are temporary visitors that most guts reject, what does actually work? This is where prebiotics come in, and this is where everything changes. Prebiotics are a completely different approach. They are not bacteria. They are specific types of fiber found in everyday foods that your body cannot digest, but your gut bacteria can. When you eat prebiotic fiber, it passes through your stomach and small intestine untouched and arrives in your large intestine, where the good bacteria that already live there feed on it. You are not trying to bring in outside bacteria and hope they stick. You are feeding and strengthening the bacteria that are already there. The permanent residents, the ones that have been living in your gut your entire life and know exactly how to thrive in your body. It is the difference between hiring strangers and training the loyal employees you already have. And the numbers tell a powerful story. That same massive 2025 review of studies in older adults found that prebiotics were nearly 3 times more effective at growing bifidobacterium, one of the most important beneficial bacteria, than probiotic supplements were. 3 times. Prebiotics also raise levels of an anti-inflammatory chemical called IL-10, which calms your immune system down, and lowered levels of a pro-inflammatory chemical called IL-1 beta, which drives chronic inflammation. Probiotics alone did not achieve either of those effects. Another study gave a specific prebiotic fiber called galacto-oligosaccharides to elderly people between 65 and 80 years old, and found that it not only boosted their good bacteria, but also increased the activity of their natural killer cells, the immune cells that hunt down infections and abnormal cells. This means prebiotics did not just help digestion, they made the immune system stronger. Let me tell you exactly which foods deliver the most powerful prebiotics, because none of this requires a single supplement. Garlic, onions, leeks, and asparagus are loaded with a fiber called inulin. When this fiber reaches your colon, your good bacteria eat it and produce butyrate. The molecule that keeps your gut lining sealed tight, provides most of the energy your colon cells need to function, and controls inflammation throughout your entire body. Every time you cook with garlic and onions, you are literally manufacturing medicine inside your own gut. Lentils, chickpeas, black beans, oats, and barley contain resistant starch and other fibers that specifically feed the bacteria that produce butyrate. Adding just 2 extra servings of these foods per day has been shown to measurably shift the gut toward a healthier, less inflammatory state. Apples eaten with the skin on are rich in a fiber called pectin that has been shown to increase bifidobacterium within weeks. Slightly green bananas are packed with resistant starch that goes straight to feeding your best gut bacteria. And here is one most people do not expect. Berries, green tea, dark chocolate, and red grapes contain plant compounds called polyphenols that your gut bacteria also feed on. Researchers at UCSF found that grape polyphenols dramatically increased a specific gut bacterium called Akkermansia muciniphila, which is one of the most important bacteria for maintaining a healthy metabolism, controlling inflammation, and keeping body weight in check. Every handful of blueberries and every cup of green tea is selectively growing one of the most valuable bacteria in your entire system. But the most exciting finding comes from a Stanford study published in Cell in 2021 that tested two diets head-to-head for 10 weeks. One group ate a high-fiber diet full of prebiotic foods. The other group ate a diet rich in fermented foods, plain yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, and kombucha. The fermented food group saw a significant increase in the variety of bacteria in their gut and a measurable drop in 19 different inflammatory markers, including one called interleukin-6 that is linked to heart disease, diabetes, and accelerated aging. The high-fiber group, despite eating plenty of prebiotic material, did not see the same drop in inflammation during that time period. Why? Fermented foods are a combination of both worlds. They deliver live bacteria inside a protective food that shields them from stomach acid, and they also contain prebiotic fibers and beneficial acids that feed bacteria once they arrive. Fermented foods from your grocery store are doing what a probiotic pill tries to do, but in a far more effective, natural package. The 2025 review confirmed this combination principle on a large scale. When researchers gave elderly patients both probiotics and prebiotics together, a combination called symbiotics, the results surpassed either one alone. The combination lowered a major inflammatory marker called TNF-alpha, increased the production of beneficial acids in the gut, and suppressed a harmful bacterium called Pseudomonas. Neither probiotics alone nor prebiotics alone achieved all three of those outcomes. It was only the combination that delivered the full range of benefits. So here's exactly what to do. Make prebiotic-rich whole foods the center of every meal: garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus, lentils, beans, oats, apples with the skin on, and slightly green bananas. These are cheap, available everywhere, and the research proves they grow your good bacteria nearly 3 times more effectively than probiotic pills. Add 1 or 2 servings of fermented foods every day, a cup of plain yogurt or kefir in the morning, a forkful of raw sauerkraut or kimchi at lunch or dinner. Eat more berries, drink green tea, and enjoy a square or two of dark chocolate to grow Akkermansia. If you want to take a probiotic supplement, do it with purpose. Pick a specific strain that has evidence for your specific problem, not a random bottle with 20 strains and a fancy label. And stop spending $60 a month on capsules when a $2 bag of lentils will do more for your bifidobacterium levels than any pill on the market. Your gut is not an empty container waiting to be filled with outside bacteria. It is a thriving, crowded, fiercely competitive ecosystem that has been building itself since the day you were born. 2 out of 3 people who swallow probiotic pills see those bacteria pass right through without ever joining that ecosystem. What your gut is truly begging for is not more foreign bacteria. It is the food that makes the bacteria you already own stronger, more diverse, and more productive. Prebiotics are that food. Fermented foods are the bridge. And the combination of both, eaten from real whole foods every single day, is what the best science in the world says will genuinely transform your gut health, your immunity, and the way you feel for the rest of your life. Nobody's coming to save your gut from the outside. The rescue team is already inside you. You just need to start feeding it.